Welcome to a very special edition of Beginner Breakdown. I am your host, Mike Kummer. This is the 500th YouTube upload of the Chess Club and Scholastic Center of St. Louis. So let's make it a good one. All right. So Happy New Year, everybody. My New Year's resolution for this year was win every chess game I play. All right. So here we go. So my first victim is Scott Anderson, rated 1300. I start out d4 with the white pieces. Black counters with d5, white plays c4. Black plays e6. You all should know what I think about this move. So I was very excited when he played e6 because he boxed in his bishop. So knight to c3. Knight f6. All right, and so I pin the knight. So black plays c5, attacking my d pawn. So I end up capturing his d pawn. He captures my d pawn. So I take it. And so now he has an interesting way to attack me here. See if Julian finds it. Yes. Knight to c6. But he's like, forget about it. I'll just unpin my knight first. All right, so I protect my pawn. Now he plays the move knight to c6. I don't want to take it, or else my queen is gone. So my pawn is in a pin. So I slam this move, queen to a4, and think it's the best. Because his knight's in a pin, and it's attacked. How can I go wrong? All right, but he's going to try to troll me. All right, so he takes. And now if I take, he's got a good move. Knight takes the pawn. Knight takes the pawn. So I don't go into that line. I'm like, I see it. I see it. So I'll take the defender. And so, okay, I'll take back. And now he's threatening check. So if I play pawn takes, he'll just take my knight with check. I'll take back, and then he'll take the pawn. So I just take with the knight. All right, that solves everything. So he takes, bishop takes, attacks my rook. So I could play rook to b1 and attack his bishop. Instead, I play rook to d1, get my rook lined up with the queen. So far, so good. So if you were black, what would you think about here? And by the way, the name of this lecture is called Never Castle. Sarcastically, obviously. So if black was playing good, he'd be like, yeah, a castle. But he decides I'm not going to play good. I'll play bishop to d7. All right, so fair enough. So now I got a double attack. Bishop and pawn. I think I'm doing great. Look at me, I double attacked. Julian's got an idea. All right, so he's like, I'm going to make a threat greater or equal to your threat. All right, so check. It's always good to check. Or is it? In this instance, it is. So I don't want to play king to e2. Obviously, if I bring my knight back anywhere, it will get captured for free. So I'll block with the rook. And now I am humiliated. But luckily, I'm playing a 1300, so I can get away with all kinds of cool stuff like this. And Julian sees the tactic, obviously. Yeah, bishop to c1, and attack the pinned piece. But luckily, he plays his bishop all the way back to e5. So I bring my knight to attack the bishop. He obviously doesn't want a castle because that would be against the name of the lecture. So bishop to e6 pins my knight to my queen. So okay, whatever. I'll just take your pawn. So rook to c8 protects the knight. And I wasn't good enough to see the winning move here either. So I come up with the move bishop to b5. Well, that's what you need to solve. That's why you're here. So what is the bone crusher for white here? Notice this knight is deep in the enemy territory. This queen is also deep in the enemy territory. All right, Nick.
Knight captures e5.
Knight captures e5. Because if he does the double blunder move, knight takes e5, we have checkmate. But I don't see any of it. So I was like, I'm pinning you. And so after bishop d7, I take, and he's just, oh, that's game. Because there's too much is happening. So that's game 1. So 1-0 this year, so feeling pretty good. But now I have a new opponent, and his name is Mario. All right. And Mario got the white pieces. So I was kind of upset with myself that I really didn't castle and play very well. You know, I got my rook pinned, and so I was like, I'm gonna play much better game this time around, much more solid. But let's see if it really happened. So I have the black pieces in this instance, and Mario starts out g3. All right, so he wants to put his bishop here, his knight here, and get castled into the kind of dragon formation. So I want to attack him right away. I don't have time for anything, so I play h5. All right, so it's a very good idea. h5, h4, and then take, and then you got the h file open for checkmate. So Mario, I guess I probably beat Mario like this before or seen it somewhere. So how would you stop h4? h4.
Wait, can I sub h4 with knight f3?
And I might just be crazy enough to play this, and now you will never really castle.
I'm going to castle queenside.
And e5, yeah. So not recommended, but it's a fun variation to play. All right, so after h4, we just decide to play normal. As normal as we can, I guess. But not for long, so don't worry. These are just teaser moves. All right. So queen to f3.
Do you still want to do it from your perspective?
Oh, yes. Let's flip the board. All right, so notice I just attacked f2. I'm not going to take f2 because king and queen are on it. But who can we get on the f file to attack f2? Yes, Julian. Rook h6. Excellent. Yes. So now we have the big threat of rook to f6 here. So Mario plays queen to f5. So you have to do a discovered attack just to make sure. He sees it, yeah. All right, and now rook f6, and now we're in business. All our great plans have come to light. So bishop takes check, ensuring that he'll never castle. King out. And knight h6. A very tricky threat. Very tricky. So what is black threatening here? Yes, Nick.
Bishop b5 or bishop g4.
Yeah, bishop g4 check. So let's see if Mario can maybe play bishop e2 or anything to get out of this threat. Yeah. He does the discovered attack on my knight. All right, check.
You did see your discovered attack on your knight.
Discovered. But my threat was greater. All right, so now he's got the rook, queen all lined up. So, but he can't withstand this check, so he's got to get rid of the pieces. Move the h pawn, and then now it's not going very well here. to say the least. All right, so it's black to move. You know, I've had fun playing this game, but I kind of want to get it over with. I got stuff to do, you know. Like play Mario again and try to get another rating point. So how do we quickly dismantle Mario here?
Move wins and like easily.
All right, well, what's the best?
Every move.
Nope.
There's not one move that loses. Queen G5.
Queen G5, excellent. So let's, yeah.
I would have developed one.
And now we have check, check, and mate. You know, you want to get your queen. She's the one that's going to be ultimately checkmating, so get her as close to the action as possible and get the checkmate. All right, so here we go again. Third game of the year. This time I have the white pieces against Mario. All right. So I play D4, the queen's pawn opening. I guess that's my new opening for the year. It's pretty good. E6. All right. So double boxing the bishop. All right. So C4, C5. So you just advance the pawn. D6. Protect it some more. Check. See a check, play a check, right? You know. All right. Knight C3. E5. F4. Knight attacks the pawn. We got to see it because this knight, not really a defender. Fake defender. So bishop D3. Bishop G4. So he sees this knight doing so well, you might as well bring out the other knight, right? What else you got?
Queen B3 so that you can attack the B7 pawn, and if he defends it, then you can take on E5, creating a passed pawn.
So Julian's on to something here. So he says if he protects it with like B6, which might not be the best, pawn takes, and now passer. Very good, Julian. I was just too busy looking at what my other knight was doing. It's like, yeah. All right. So knight F3, knight out, and now castle. Finally castle. First castle of the year. So that's good. Pawn takes, bishop takes. Knight attacks the bishop. So, you know, our piece is attacked. We either want to move it or defend it. So I defend it. And he's like, yeah, that was a dumb idea. All right. Knight back.
Is that what he did?
that's the move. So he probably should have just like said, hey, I'm going to trade this for that. But he didn't want to. So your king is safe. His king is in the center. It's time to break open the center. So E5, pawn takes, knight takes, attacks the bishop, attacks the knight, knight takes. And now we don't have to take back. We can just pin. So let's think about this. If we're not going to take this knight back, right, and we're going to pin it, we have three different options, right? We can play queen here, rook here, or rook here. So we actually have four options, three different pieces. Which one do we want to pin with? All right, Julian's got an idea. Let's hear what Nick says.
Maybe the A-rook?
Yeah, the A-rook, the rook that's not doing nothing. Yeah, the good one. Yeah, get him in the game. Good, excellent. So knight goes back, so take it, rook takes, take it. And good thing we didn't move our F-rook to E1 because now we can go over and slam it.
Maybe queen F4 stronger?
No. No, rook takes pawn with check. There's nothing better. And now we have a clincher. I'll give you a hint. It's probably a check. Always look for your checks and your captures. And if they're both the same, like rook takes F7 check, I think it's pretty good. Queen G5, game over. Get out of here. Next. Yeah. All right.
Did he resign after?
Yeah. Didn't just resign. He made all the pieces disappear. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, while I was playing Mario, one of our scholastic instructors, Nick Weiss, was playing my first opponent, Scott Anderson. And Nick had the luxury of playing the black pieces. So we'll flip the board around for him, because he'll be our hero here, and he happens to be in the audience right now. So we'll see how he plays against Scott Anderson. All right. So Nick is rated about 1,500 or so, and Scott's about 1,300. All right, so white plays e4, and black starts on e6, pretending like he's going to go into the French, but we know the French no good. So he's like, yeah, I'm not going to go into the French. I was just joking. Yeah, so c5. So now this transposes into a Sicilian. Did you know that? Good. Good. Yes, the Tamanov variation, I believe. Well, whatever. I can't say the word. Just look it up. Taimanov.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's Sicilian Taimanov variation. All right. So bishop e3, knight f6 attacks the pawn. He defends it. So yeah, good. Bishop b4. Attack the defender. All right. Bishop d3. Nah, it's great. Yeah, forget about it. All right. So now black has a couple different moves he can do. He could castle, which would probably be recommended. He could give his opponent double pawns, double isolated pawns. Even more recommended. But d5, okay? You want to break open the center after your king is safe. All right? So now he gets in, it's called an in-between move, an intermezzo, the bishop check, double isolate his pawns, good, pawn takes. And now e5, all right? So now he can't castle because his knight's under attack. And his knight really has no good space to go, so I'm sure he goes backwards. Okay. And now queen to g4, and now he really doesn't want to castle, because castling in this position, big disaster. Bishop h6, g6 is the only way to stop checkmate.
Queen f6 also stops check.
Yeah, queen f6, but with treacherous results. So after g6, bishop takes, and now you're down in exchange. So now, because he had to open up, the center, that was more important than getting your king safe. Now you don't have the luxury of castling, okay? So, how are we going to protect that pawn? I guess there's only one way to do it. Well, besides Rick g8. Or king f8, not recommended.
Why not? Never castle.
Never castle.
I really wanted to weaken my dark squares in this game. Look at those like square control. So pretty.
So pretty. All right, so g6. And now this pawn is under attack. So now he attacks the queen.
Knight takes e5.
Is what is played in the game. All right, knight takes e5. So now Nick decides, my queen's attack, I'm going to make a threat greater or equal. Hopefully, you should only do that if you can actually calculate it out to be a good variation. So knight takes. So obviously, Nick's hoping bishop takes, king takes. That would be horrible. Maybe that's what Scott's hoping. That's what Scott's hoping for. So bishop takes, and I'll take your queen. Yeah. But that's what Scott was hoping. All right, but that's not what happens. All right, so he's got to find something better here.
At this point, I'm looking at the pawn. I think I have a superior pawn structure on up a pawn. So trading pieces for me, I feel like it's to my advantage.
Yeah, because you got these nice pawns, yeah, and he's got bad pawns.
You just have to be careful about your dark squares.
Yep. So let's see if he can hurt him on the dark squares here. So queen f4 is played. So now he's got to solve his queen situation. But first he should solve another situation. Well, he can't solve that situation.
Right now, can I play either queen d6 or queen c7 with the idea?
All right, well here it is. Here it is for everybody to see. Queen to d6. Now, what is the winning move for white here? And remember what the name of the lecture is. Never castle. Never castle. Yeah.
Okay.
So you figured it out now?
No. There's like manual. Black's position's good.
Queen H4.
There's what are you thinking? Because if you think bishop f6 is winning, then you lose.
Right, bishop f6 is not winning here because of knight takes d3 check. So simply castle now,
Okay.
and now you have this huge idea.
My move now.
Yeah, it's your move. Go ahead. Good luck.
Okay, I can do many things. I'll play king d7.
King to d7.
So
All right, you just lost.
or sorry, no.
Oh. There's no takebacks in chess, Julian. No takebacks in chess. See? So by castling, you got rid of his knight takes d3 check move, and now you're going to be aces. But he just couldn't resist.
Castles. Can you turn on the computer? I have a really hard time believing that black is
What? Oh wait, look. Your knight's in trouble, right? So he plays knight to c4 and protects the queen.
Okay, yeah, but bishop's but
Yeah, but it's not that good for black. Black is losing in this position.
it's a draw.
Okay. So that's that. All right, but Scott gets too excited and he plays queen f6, attacking the rook, and we're relinquishing the pin. Great idea. All right, so rook g8 just moves him to safety. Now castles, and now Nick doesn't want to, straighten up his pawns, which is fine. So he plays knight to g4. Dual threat, right? I hope you can see the two things that are being attacked in this position. Queen and the checkmate. Which is more important?
I think they're both equally important because both the game would end after both of them.
Yep. So he could just stop it with queen to f4. But yeah, that'd be too easy. So bishop f4. Bishop. So once again, they have the queens on pre here. So let's see. But this time they're just like, okay, let's do it. Whatever. The dance is over. So king attacks the bishop. Bishop to c5. A5. All right, he gets your a5 in.
Bishop a, well, maybe not now.
Rook to b1 takes the file. Now bishop to c7. And this is a key position in this game. You know how you joke around, see a check, play a check? Now, if you think, why did he play king c7? Potentially to play the devastating move, rook to b8.
Bishop a6 is low.
Well, probably. But why did he play king c7? Probably, maybe to challenge the file. So you never want to just throw a check in for no reason.
If I were white here, I would assume that black played that move, so that after bishop a6, rook a6, white would not play rook e7 check.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. The reason why I played A5, you backed up with.
Yeah.
The reason why I played A5 was so that I played bishop A6. But if I.
Yeah.
But after rook B1, I can't play bishop A6 because after if bishop A6.
Yeah, because if bishop a6, like he's saying, bishop takes, rook check. So that's the reason why Nick's a 1500. So he saw, king c7. He's not actually doing it to play rook to b8. But you never want to let your opponent, you want to let him blunder if he can with rook to b8. So in this position, if I was playing white, he might have ideas eventually of e5, e4. I would just play rook here, hoping that he tries to challenge the file with rook to b8, and then check. King takes, rook takes. All right, so don't just play a check because you got a check, okay? So in this position, he did just waste the check. Maybe he's hoping he does go to the b file, so he wins the pawn with check. But that hope ain't ever gonna happen. So king to d6, and now bishop back to e3, and now Nick sees a better idea. Well, he attacks the knight, or attacks the bishop, but now he gets those pawns rolling. Get the pawns rolling. I get all the pawns rolling. But he does love his idea of bishop a6. So let's see if this works. Yeah, just pawn storm him. So after h3, knight back to f6, attacks the pinned pawn. So we better do something about that. Rook up.
e7 prevented rook b6.
Well, be that as may. So knight to d7 protects the pawn, attacks the rook. Rook goes away. Rook b8. It gets another attacker on here. So there's only one move you can play here, f6. And it happens to be halfway decent this time because your king is not on g8, so you don't have to really worry about these light squares. Look, he doesn't have a queen, a piece that could attack the light squares, or a light square bishop. So in this instance, f6, perfectly acceptable. Ugh. But pawn takes, f4, take off the rook, pawn takes with check. Let's not take it. Let's not take it. Yeah, king e6, good idea. Don't take the pawn. And then a5, and did Scott run out of time here?
No, we both had about 2 minutes left on the clock. But after a5, he played rook a1.
Scott, they both have 2 minutes left in this game, and Scott makes a huge mistake here. He plays rook a1, and you should be able to just take the pawn, right?
I marched down the a file.
Oh, you should take because
You can just take here.
b2, right? You just queen.
Time trouble, guys. Time trouble.
But yeah, I saw it in like 2.5 seconds. So time trouble, never an excuse. So that's the end of the game. The next game we have is I got white against Dr. Schuman, rated about 800. So white play d4. That's the move. So black plays d6, threatening to go into the perk defense. So I let it happen with e4. Knight attacks the pawn that's already defended, so don't have to worry about that. It's a pawn up. Knight attacks pawn that's not defended, so we defend it. Black plays a6. We don't have to worry about that. So decide to just take it easy and play f3. All right, not that great of a move, and kind of weakens.
Can I punish black immediately with d5? And if you move to e5, I'll play f4.
So this is an idea. I don't see how it's punishing him.
I have space. It doesn't.
All right, fair enough. So that's an idea, but I like all my pawns in a line on the 4th row. So g6, bishop e3. Now after e5, now you can play d5. And hopefully he's so excited about moving his bishop, he won't understand that his knight is under attack. So he touches his bishop, And you know, you touch a piece, you gotta move it. And you have to enforce it. All right? As we'll see in next week's lecture. So, take it. You're gonna miss a heck of a game, Julian.
No, bishop e7, I just, no.
All right. Thanks. So we don't let him castle with bishop to h6. So bishop f8. So now we're ensuring that he will not be castling. Queen to d2, threatening a check here. So h5. Knight out to h3. Knight up. f4. Try to break open. Try to get toward his king. So he's attacking my pawn, so just protect it. Simple enough. f5. Pawn takes. Pawn takes. Knight f6. Bishop protects the pawn. d5. Takes, takes. And now white castles. So he thinks he's doing pretty good. So protects the pawn. And so now I get the silly idea of trading the bishops. So after queen e2, black now plays e5. And so now I play bishop to a6. Double blunder. What move does black make to make it from +2 for me to now +2 for him? That's why when you get up material, you don't want to take it easy, or else bad things can happen.
Oh,
Yes.
queen b6.
Queen to b6, check. Double attacks the bishop and attacks the king. So now I'm in a world of hurt. Even though I was up a piece for nothing earlier, now I'm in trouble here. So queen takes, rook takes, bishop takes. So now he has 2 connected passed pawns. Needless to say, he's up pawns too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got one more pawn than me, but more importantly, these 2 are passed. So you got to do something about it right away. You don't want to do something about it when all these pawns are like right, you know, cramming down your throat. You got to do something about it right now. So rook d1 stops d4, at least for a minute. But it doesn't stop e3. So, all right, he just attacked my my rook. Where should we go with the rook? This is important, because if we don't get this right, we'll probably might lose. Well, let's look at the options. If I go to f1 or e2, I lose it. If I go here, I lose it. If I go to here or here, that's safe. If I go here, it's safe, and it attacks the pawn. And if I go here, safe. Any ideas?
f3. Rook f3.
So if he plays f3, he'll just probably attack my rook. Not fun. So I settle on c2 because it's an open file and it's preventing e2 here. All right, so he plays king to g7 to connect the rooks and get this rook in the game. So I got to get my knight active and then trying to stop these pawns. So knight f4, rook to d8. So knight to a4. So it's a discovered attack. So let's see if he can figure this one out. So he doesn't care about that pawn, evidently. So he's just going to push his pawn. Rook takes c6. Attacks the bishop, attacks the knight. Knight's defended, so that's all right. So what do we got to do here?
d3 looks pretty more. Actually, d3 still looks pretty good.
So even though your bishop's attacked, you want to just say, forget about it. I'm going d3. So look at what you did here. So I understand your ideas here, but you just gave me a piece for nothing, right? So that makes it very easy for me to just say, okay, I just give my knight back for these pawns, and then we'll just be even.
So E2 doesn't work here?
I can just,
The knight. Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'll just take. And then we'll get to a pretty similar position that we'll see in just a second here. Okay, because he essentially does the exact same thing you do. So after bishop to b5, rook to c5, and he plays d3 here, right? So it's essentially the same position, right? Rook takes b5. So he gave me a bishop for nothing. Basically, he thinks he's going to ram these pawns down my throat and win the game. So knight takes e2, pawn takes e2, rook to e2. But maybe he's right, but you got to calculate it out. So obviously rook to d1, threatening rook takes, check. So the only move I can do is play king to f2. So now what do you think black should play?
Knight G4.
Knight g4, check. Unfortunately, I'm going to take your pawn and attack your rook. And all your past pawns have gone away.
So rook E8?
Rook e8, yeah, prepare it. Yeah, say, hey, you're not going to take my pawn. No way. And I'm like, yeah, I am going to take your pawn. Now, what move should black play?
Knight G4 check.
Knight g4 check. Yeah, knight g4 check just flat out wins. But sometimes you have to take the risk. So after king here, black can just play rook e3 check, and I have to abandon my rook. And you know, it'd be a tough struggle for me, but you know, I might be able to come back from here against them, but it would have been tough. Unfortunately, he plays knight to e4 check, and I can just take it. He takes it, I take it, and I'm looking pretty good here. I get the fork, and rook checks, and it really doesn't matter where my king goes, which one it attacks, but I choose to attack this rook, and he protects the rook, takes, and now it's a simple king and pawn, rook and pawn endgame to win the game. And I don't, well, I shouldn't say I don't mess it up because I really do, but he doesn't see it, and check, check. And I don't want to take this pawn yet. I mean, I'd rather just win these this way. Unfortunately, he doesn't see to take my pawn, and
Where are you taking the pawn?
In this position, he after b6, he should just take. And then I would probably have to take this pawn, and I'd just queen that guy. But he didn't do it. And queen check, and the game is over. I guess we'll save the next one for another time. Thank you for your continued support. 500 shows in the books. All right. Yeah.